Hello to all our participants who are joining us. We're going to wait a few minutes just to let all our registrants come in before we get started. Thank you. Okay, we're going to give it one more minute. Okay, we're going to get started now. Hello, everybody. My name is Hillary Helstein, and I'm the director of the Los Angeles Jewish Film Festival. And I want to welcome you to our special program today, presented with the Consulate General of Israel in Los Angeles and Go-To Films in Israel. I would like to thank our partners, the Consulate General of Germany, the New Yorker Documentary, and Interfilm Berlin. We're thrilled to be able to bring you this exclusive streaming and Q&A today of the exceptional award-winning animated short film, Holy Holocaust, by filmmakers Noah Berman-Herzberg and Wald. I hope some of you, our guests here, I hope some of you have had the chance to watch the 17-minute gem already, but for our audience members who have not had the chance yet, we will be showing it here today, followed by the making of and a Q&A with our fine filmmakers. Now, as you may know, this film is in consideration for Best Animated Short for the 2023 Academy Awards. We're all excited and hopeful to see it get a nomination and hopefully go further to victory. We're looking forward to what I know will be a fascinating discussion today with our co-creators. And again, we have writer-director Noah Berman-Herzberg, and we have director, producer, animator, and editor, Wald. I would like to express my gratitude to our panelists for their time today, and to Hedva Goldschmidt of Go-To Films, and to Noah LAJFF, who you can't see, he's in the background, but he is my prized Zoom helper.
Hello.
There he is. I would also like to thank our sponsors who make it possible for us to continue to bring you important programs like today's. Holy Holocaust is based on Noah's story. Starring Noah as the voice of Noah, a dark family secret from the past is revealed unexpectedly and opens an abyss between two close friends. Jenny, a German, discovers that she is the black granddaughter of a notorious Nazi, and her life turns upside down, while Noah is doing whatever she can to keep hers from turning. The New Yorker asks, can we reckon with our histories while refusing to be defined by them? Can we move on from the past without erasing it? Does blood mean more than the bond of sisterhood? These are very complex questions. We're going to watch the film today, and we look forward to hearing the answers in the discussion following. And we're honored to be able to participate in programs, most especially like today's, because LAJFF's mission is to educate, captivate, and share with you films that imprint your memory and help create a deeper understanding of humanity through a Jewish lens. The power of cinema resonates with you long after the credits end. I welcome you to submit any questions you may have through the Q&A button on your screen so we can take some questions at the end. And now I would like to introduce Carmel Halebi, the Consul of Public Diplomacy from the Consulate General of Israel in Los Angeles. Carmel?
Thank you. Shalom, everyone. Hello. My name is Carmel Halebi. I'm the Consul for Public Diplomacy at the Consulate General of Israel in LA, and I'm very happy and excited to be here today. I want to thank Hillary, of course, and Ossie and Noah, wonderful ladies, And I hope everyone, and I want to thank all of you that are here at the Zoom, gonna watch this short and amazing, incredible film that we wish him lots of luck within the next few days. So thank you, everyone. And I cannot tell you how important it is that we'll continue to support and contribute to the culture, especially these days. And I'm going to be very short. It's a short movie. So just hello and thank you. And I hope you'll enjoy it.
Thank you so much. And thank you for being our partner and sponsor on this program. It is crucial to be able to continue to bring Israeli film and culture to our audience. So thank you so much. Now, before we show the film, I would like to set you up with a brief introduction to our filmmakers and a little bit about their backgrounds before they will tell you a little bit about the film and themselves. Noah Berman-Herzberg is a director, screenwriter, a screenwriting teacher, a script doctor, among other extraordinary things she does. Noah graduated with Honor the World Literature Department in Tel Aviv University and the Writing Department of Camera Obscura School of Cinema, and has an MA in Film Culture from Haifa University. As a screenwriter, she has written various films, including Mabul, which you may have seen, The Flood, in 2010, directed by Guy Nativ, who you may also be familiar with as the Oscar winner for the short film Skin. Mabul participated in many international festivals and won prestigious prizes, among them the Crystal Bear at the Berlinale in 2011. She's also working on Harmonia, a script with a feature-length film that she co-wrote with Guy Nativ, and of course today's film, Holy Holocaust. So welcome, Noah. And Ossi's bio. Here we have Ossi Wald is a co-director, producer, editor, animation artist, and lecturer. And in her extraordinary work, she explores the connections between dance and animation, collaborating with choreographers and other animators. Ossi is also known for Holy Holocaust and other credits that include Love Letters to Cinema, initiated by the Sam Spiegel Film School, and Reflection, amongst many others. Ossi was a key member of the animation team of the Israeli animated feature, Waltz with Bashir, and The Congress, both by Ari Folman. So I'd like to invite you and thank you both for being here today, and the screen is yours.
Thank you so much, Hilary and Carmel, for having us and inviting us. It's a huge honor. And thank you all for joining us to watch the movie and talk about it in our creative process. So we had a beautiful introduction, so we can only add, I could say it's, this film is my personal story, and as Hilary explained, also my voice is there. I'm one of the characters. It's an interesting and weird experience. And also it's an opportunity for me to tell this story with a different kind of facade, I would say, in animation. Also, you will see my curls are actually another character in the movie. So I wish I had them in real life, but Ossi couldn't manage to do that. So I'm sticking to mine. And yes, and Ossi would say probably a few words.
I just very shortly to say that this film could not have been possible without the support of the PICE Fund and Gesher Film Fund, and with all this small but very, very important team that work with us on the film, Ela Ben Yaakov, Liron Narunsky, and Yair Rael, the animators, Ricardo Bardesheim, the post-production, Daniela Spector and Einab Cohen for the music, and Nori Kadishai for the sound. That's it. I'm going to send a link of the film on the chat, so in case you can't see the film well because your internet is not as good or so you can watch it while we are watching here. So I'm sending it here, putting it here on the chat. No, I think it's here. I'm not sure. Can you
Yeah.
see it? Yeah, okay.
So
And I
enjoy
will,
the movie.
yeah, so enjoy the movie.
Now I put a question mark on every detail of my life. My close relationship with my adopting brothers, my friendships in Israel, my marriage, my 2 sons. Was everything really a lie? I feel like I've been walking the earth with a false identity, like I deceived everyone. When I arrived here to Israel 22 years ago to visit my friend Noah, I was young, curious, with no worries. At first, it was very hard to her to accept the terrible revelation that I am the granddaughter of Amon Good. I was never that close to anyone related to a Nazi, she said. She was mortified.
I wasn't mortified.
But now she says she can finally live with it.
Don't you remember what I said?
It was fate that brought us together.
Fate? We met in a drawing class in Paris.
Changer. Changer. Changer.
The Gulf War has just ended, and I needed to get away from everything. So I took the first plane to Paris.
Changer.
Is this a beginner's class?
I thought so, but I don't know.
Your first time too?
Changer.
That's what they teach you there in America?
I'm from Israel.
I'm German.
Wherever it is you come from, you obviously haven't learned drawing. We will need much work. Work, work, work.
Arbeit macht frei, no?
God, you're crazy. I think you're the first Israeli I ever met.
Oh, well, I'm not really a typical example.
I'm not a typical German.
Obviously.
Oh, quelle horreur!
She's scary.
You know we can leave whenever we want.
Changer.
Don't be so sure.
You okay? Now I feel so spoiled. You just come from war and I come from the ski vacation in the Alps.
I don't know if it's a good idea to drink more.
Oh, come on, you sound like my mom.
Maybe I'm your mom.
Actually, you look like her more than I do.
Really?
I'm adopted.
Ah, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so two families, the most complicated and fucked up thing in the entire world.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Prost.
God, look at them. What are they doing? That's so weird. It's like, look at them.
You're so drunk.
No, I'm not. I'm not drunk.
Yes, you are. Ah. Oh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It looks like they're making out with each other.
You see?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's crazy. She's like blushing.
Look at one on the right. Oh.
So when are you coming to visit me in Tel Aviv? It's really beautiful.
Tomorrow. Let's go tomorrow.
כל בוקר אני מחליפה אור ושפה כל בוקר אני מחבה הלילה שוב באה
Jenny. Jenny. Your flight.
I'm tired.
Jenny.
Fuck the flight.
You sure?
Uh-huh.
Jenny? Jenny! Jenny! Shit. Jenny! God, you scared me. Look at you, you're all blue. What were you doing there?
Nothing.
Maybe you should go home. Really, I mean, this place is driving you crazy. I told you.
If you can stay here, so could I.
כמה את רוצה סירה מקום על פני המים אין לי חבל הצלה להחזיק אותה
She stayed in Tel Aviv for a few years and became one of my closest friends. So when she went back, of course we stayed in touch and met whenever we could. It went on like this for 22 years. And then she stopped answering my calls. I felt she's avoiding me. So when I came to Berlin, I kind of forced her to meet. I really needed to find out what's going on. Hey.
Hey.
Okay, shoot, you make me nervous.
You know, it's not so easy. And you have the premiere today, so I don't know.
What could be so fucking terrible? Really?
Okay. Remember Schindler's List?
Yeah.
Remember the Nazi there in the camp?
Yeah, the one that shoots people from the balcony for fun.
Yeah. So apparently, turned out he is my biological grandfather.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Oh, what do you mean?
Amon Good. He was my grandmother's lover.
God. How is this even possible? I mean, how did you find out?
By mistake. I went to the library to find something and somehow found this book my biological mother wrote about her Nazi dad.
Shit. So, when was that? The library.
3 years ago, something like that.
And all this time you were what?
My mind went crazy. I don't know about your family history. You never mentioned it.
Because it has nothing to do with us.
Of course it does.
No, it doesn't. I mean, your grandmother had sex with this fucked up Nazi 70 years ago. So, what? It changes who you are? It changes who we are?
She had a portrait of him above her bed. I mean, I was sleeping in this bed when I was a kid.
Wow. It's like, I don't know, sleeping with the devil or something.
Yeah. I feel like it runs in my veins now, you know?
Don't be crazy.
How do you know?
Because look at you. It's like a bad joke.
He probably would have shot me.
Yeah, probably.
Can you get a little closer?
I was still trying to process everything. I wasn't really sure how all of this is supposed to affect us. Then suddenly, Jenny's book was almost out, and she came to Tel Aviv for a photo shoot.
Try to look as if you're in conversation.
Say something interesting.
Did I tell you about the woman who called me? She read an article about me. Said she was there at the camp.
Wow.
She knew my grandfather. Yeah, she thinks what I'm doing is very important. She cried.
Back to back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she really wants to meet with me.
Really? Why?
Close a circle, I guess.
Can you laugh?
Close a circle? What, like standing together on the balcony and shooting people?
Noah.
Not funny, huh? Sorry. You know us and stupid Holocaust jokes.
Be more lively. Come on, I need you more serious for the book.
It'll be over soon, I promise.
What, this whole madness?
This shooting session.
Can you stand really close together?
Okay, last effort. Just look at me as if you still want to hear my story.
Well, you don't really need me for that. You've got the whole world to listen to your story now. Jenny's editor called me. She wanted to verify some details for the book. So other than your grandfather's brother, have you any other relatives that died in the Holocaust? So I called up my mom, and she said, yes, well, but what about grandma's whole family? And I said, what about them? You never told me. So then, for the first time, she told me the horrifying story of my family. I wish she didn't.
So you don't think much of my book?
I don't think much of rewriting history.
If only.
I just don't think it's really me in your book. You never really heard what I was saying. You were so afraid that this revelation would separate between us.
Didn't it?
Well, yeah, but from a totally different reason.
What do you mean?
You twisted our friendship. You made up this whole dramatic new narrative and cast me as this Jewish act of God. I never wanted this role.
Sorry.
Excuse me, will you sign my book?
What is your name?
Hannah.
Here you go, Hannah. I really thought you understand where I am. What I'm doing.
You know what? I don't. I think you went overboard. I mean, writing the book, translating it to a million languages, traveling with it, all the lectures. We got it, you know? Just leave it. Go back to your life.
I can't.
Of course you can.
This is part of me now. It's who I am.
What, a Holocaust celebrity?
Celebrity.
Yeah, you're a fucking rock star.
Celebrity. You know what? I didn't choose that. Don't you think we all have a role in life?
Don't you think we can choose?
כמה את רוצה סירה, מקום על פני המים. אין לי חבל הצלה להחזיק אותה. כל הלילה לא עצמנו עין. בכלל זה הכי קרוב לבית, אבל תעזבי את סוף הקיץ. אם בכלל זה הכי קרוב לבית. לא עצמנו עין, אני מחליפה. אור ושפה, לא עצמנו כל בוקר, אני מחליפה. לא עצמנו
Wow. It looked great. So I hope our audience got to see it in all its beauty and glory. Would you guys like to now talk about the making of and show us some clips?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm sharing.
Yeah, okay, so we introduced ourselves and Hillary introduced us before, but in case you joined later, I'm Noah, and it's my personal story, and I'm one of the characters, as you saw. And this is Ossie.
I'm the co-director, and I also animated, produced, edited, designed the film. So
Yeah, it's an independent film, and basically we're the team, and we had a few others that we'll introduce later. So our work together started actually in a car. We went together, we teach together in Bezalel Academy of Art in Jerusalem, and I'm not driving, so I joined Ossi, and we were talking on the way, and I pitched her the movie. It was a very different version of an idea. Of course, I didn't pitch the movie, I pitched an idea for a movie. And we started brainstorming and thinking, what should we do? Should we work together? How to kind of like, figure out what to do with the fact we don't have footage. I want to tell a real story. So while we were actually thinking about it, Jenny told me that she's arriving to Israel. She's coming to Tel Aviv on Holocaust Memorial Day. And Ossi and I were like, okay, so for sure we're going to shoot this. Jenny and I standing in the siren in Memorial Day in Rothschild Boulevard in the middle of Tel Aviv. And probably we'll find a use for this. It's a 2-minute siren. There it is.
I turned off the siren though.
Yeah.
So during the film, you might have recognized this scene where Noah and Jenny are standing in the siren and during the siren inside the photo studio. It's located in the film as a transition between the photo session scene and the final scene where the two confront each other. We use the siren as a trigger that pushes them further apart.
In a way, the scene and the way that we thought in the beginning that it's going to be a more realistic movie. We thought we're going to combine video footage, photos with the animation. And this is why we were so convinced we need to shoot this scene of Jenny and I standing in the siren. But in a way, you can say this is the scene where they end up standing and then confronting each other. And in a way, it's a metamorphosis that really went through the concept, the style, the art, even in our minds about what kind of story are we telling and what should we keep very close to reality. It is a documentary animation after all, and I'm a real character, Jenny is a real character, we're in the movie, so how are we going to deal with this? So as you can see, this is from my personal album. So we started like going over materials as research and reference.
And these are some references that I collected to create the scenes, the different scenes. You can see this, the sea, you can see the bar and the restaurant and so on. The first design of the characters was more realistic, closer, as Noah said, closer to the method that I worked with in Wald with Bashir.
And also for me, it was kind of like, I'm normally, my usual is I'm writing dramatic screenplays for live action. And this was basically kind of, both of us never did like a real documentary before, but it was like our first kind of docu animation experience with real materials and kind of surrealistic elements that we added. But in this stage, I was very convinced that we need to keep kind of close to reality. And this was like a sort of a collage concept that Ossi came up with.
Yeah, I wasn't very sure that we need to be realistic because I'm an animator, and after all, I usually invent characters and worlds. But I went along with Noah, and we made up all these collage frames from the film. Some scenes didn't make it through the rough cut. And we even made this animation test, which I will play here without sound while I'm talking.
Okay, shoot, you make me nervous.
I'm turning off the sound. We tried to test the animation style. It's not an easy thing to do. Animation is a timey process. So you create 2 or 6 seconds of animation a day. So this test was a very, very expensive way to prove to ourselves that this is not the right style for the film. One thing that this test emphasized for me as an animator that animating realistic characters with realistic features is a bit like moving inside an armature. The design sort of restricts you to certain movements, and it's almost impossible to do like all these virtuosic and flexible movements with a character. No?
Yeah. So basically what happened is we realized that while we're there they are standing in the siren, while we're actually thinking of how to design the characters, if they're realistic, if we stick to reality, we kind of lose intimacy with them. It's kind of like working the other way around. And then we decided to actually look for a different solution and make like a minimalist characters instead of the stiff and kind of like holy characters that are close to reality.
What we did keep from the film, from the early tests, was the fact that we used the surroundings to give all the emotions, subtext, hidden layers, and knowledge. So the surroundings are in a way a step ahead of Noah and Jenny.
Yes, in the test we there's you probably saw there's like a whole reaction of the world around them is reacting more than them. The world around them always know more than them. They know history better than them. In a way, we created a subtext in the background, and the 2 main characters are kind of trying to cope with their normal reality while everything around them is kind of showing that it's not as normal as they want or as they think.
So in a way, working with the realistic design made reality holy in the movement, something that I couldn't touch. And we were looking for something more live. And we understood that you can't create art if you treat your characters as holy, and that you can't create art if you treat your subject as holy.
Arbeit macht frei, no?
So talking about the subject of the film, although our movie is not about the Holocaust, it's about friendship, but it does touch the Holocaust.
And when you're born and raised in Israel, the Holocaust, of course, is holy. It's something that is very untouchable. And we as 3rd generation kind of have a different, I would say privilege, but so-called privilege, to touch it differently, to approach it differently. And probably one of our best shield is humor. And again, it's kind of probably we're the only ones that are allowed to do it, but it's basically a means of survival more than anything. But humor is also something very, very typical for Ossie and I in our art. And it was a very strong glue or bond between Jenny and me when we first met in Paris in 91. We were very sarcastic about, okay, I'm from Israel, you're from Germany, you're Black, and we're kind of like okay with that. I have like one a brother of my grandfather that I know that was that died in the Holocaust. So we're not going to put this into our friendship. We put it aside, and we can actually go from there. So in the beginning, in the movie, it's very sort of out there that one of the first moments between them is Noah is doing what we call Holocaust joke, and Jenny is shocked. It's the first time she ever heard something like that, and is reacting to that. And in the end, we actually have the moment where, after Jenny's revelation, she changes the way she reacts to humor or to everything that is light around her revelation. And Noah is kind of trying still to stick to it, and the gap is very apparent, as you can see here.
So we made a decision while working on the
What,
film.
like,
We decided that nothing is holy.
Yeah. If you want to do art, you can't. You need to allow yourself to touch everything. So we decided that this is what we do, and of course, in kind of a reverse kind of logic, we called our movie Holy Holocaust.
So here is some of the unrealistic movement that we made in the film. But in the same reverse logic, along with all this unrealistic movement, the animation itself of the characters talking is very, very realistic. It enables these minimalistic characters to feel very believable and real. In order to achieve that, we used live action references that we shot for ourselves that helped me and the animators figure out the acting, the volume, the three-dimensional physics, and the movement of the character.
So we have a little peek into the references that we actually sent each other during the process of working on the film. And what is interesting is that the film was done during COVID, so we were basically in and out of lockdown. So many of the references were shot when someone of the team is actually shooting something at home, sending it to Ossie and to the other, and we were like trying to create a whole sequence when people are really locked in their houses. So you can see here the references of a few scenes and some of the team that worked with us. And let's see it.
Wherever it is you come from, you obviously haven't learned drawing. We will need much work, 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 work.
So we're about to finish a little presentation, and we were very lucky. It was actually a big surprise. We were searching for music. We wanted original music for a movie, and we addressed a very famous Israeli singer, Daniela Spector. The first thing that she said is, I want to maybe work on this with another friend of mine, Nav Jackson Cohen, who's a singer, that they never worked together. And in a strange way, it became like a threesome of couples, like two filmmakers that are friends are doing together, and also this our first working this it's the first time we worked together. So this was two women filmmakers, friends, working on a movie about two female friends with the music of two female singers, and it became something more than we actually expected, somehow feminine kind of process. And this film became a hit before even the movie was out, because they did it so well. And yeah, we were very happy about it.
So thank you for listening. And
Okay, shoot, you make me nervous.
you have some questions.
It's like, if you have questions, this is the time to ask. And now, okay, shoot, you make us nervous. So yeah, we're
I'm going to start with some questions, and then I see we've got about 10 questions on the Q&A, which I haven't gotten to. Now, you've actually covered a lot of the questions I have and some of the ones that I've seen come through the chat. I think that your process is absolutely fascinating. But I want to go back to the original question that I had is, why and when did you decide to make the film?
So this has been going on. The relationship between Jennifer and me is a long relationship, and Jenny published a book, and I felt that there's more to the story for me to tell. I felt that for me as an Israeli, for me as someone who's really trying to not be any kind of like I wanted to do a film that shows a different kind of attitude to history, a different kind of what happens when you reveal in the middle of your life that you're a third generation. Do you have to change anything? Does it define you? Should I from now on be someone else? Because Jenny revealed her story, and through her book, with verification of details, I realized that I was not told about my family history. So in a way, it kind of revealed mine as well. And I think it's a big question. It's a big question of our generation. So personally, I wanted to put this question out there. And of course, it's more complicated because it created a gap, because Jenny was thinking something very different about it. So my tool is filmmaking. So I wanted to make a film, and I think through films we can actually ask questions, maybe not answers, but just like, you know, open up discussions.
What did you find out about your own family history, and how did that change you and your relationship with Jenny?
It didn't change my relationship with Jenny. Nothing of it changed my relationship with Jenny. That's actually the reason why I wanted to do this film. For me, this is history, and I think for Jenny and me, it doesn't really affect us. Also, my character in the movie says it. It's like this is us, and this is something that happened. Also, it's a very specific moment. I mean, Jenny and I are not very typical. She's not a typical German, and I'm not a typical Israeli. I'm really very drastic in the notion of we create our reality. We can choose what we want to define us, to change our lives and all that. So my revelation was, yeah, the entire family of my grandmother from my mother's side was executed by the Nazis in Stalin, not in Pashov, but like a very horrifying story that I never heard. I heard for the first time then. So this was a shock.
It's interesting. What is your relationship with Jenny now? Do you see her often or?
We don't see often, and also it became very complicated. And I think for her also to have really to really understand that we think very differently about it is not easy. So we had this. We talked about it before the movie, and then in the movie we actually have this scene in the end where we talk. It's based on a true scene that happened, and then after the movie we had actually the same conversation again in Zoom and then again on the phone. So it's kind of like it's a loop of a question that defines the difference of opinion of how to deal with history kind of jumping into your present, and a horrifying history, of course, and what should you do?
It's interesting. How much of the story or how much in the film is fact versus what might be embellished or fictionalized?
I have a strange memory for dialogue. It's my thing. I remember text, I remember conversation. So of course I don't have a proof. This is, it's part of the magic of doing a docu animation, because you don't have footage, you don't have anything recorded, so you can like recreate the past in a way. But of course also it enables to create subtext that the past did not have. So this is like the magic that we managed to achieve, or I managed to achieve with this genius that is my co-director. But
the model wasn't pink. The model wasn't pink.
This is not a real this is not a real scene, but it is a real scene, but the colors are different actually. So basically it's all based on my memory, but nothing is really invented there. It's more or less things that happen. But for example, there's a scene, maybe also you want to talk about it, the Tel Aviv scene, which is, for example, like something that is different.
Yeah, because the scene in the sea where they lie on the bed.
Yeah, I want to
buses
know
are
about
actually-
that's interesting. Tell us
So,
about that.
so that scene represents a period of 4 years where Jenny lived in Tel Aviv, and it's the only scene that is not a scene that happened, but like a sum of a period. So it has all these stories that Noah told me about, sort of embedded inside it. The buses exploding in the Intifada, the fact that for a while Jenny slept in Noah's bed, the fact that the way that she stayed in Israel and decided
She didn't wake up.
unexpectedly.
She didn't wake
Yeah.
up in the morning, so she didn't go to the flight. So she was just, and in the scene, she actually says it. There's like the alarm clock. She puts it off, and I said, Jenny, your flight. And she says, no, fuck the flight. And then she gets up in the morning and literally stayed 4 years. So yeah, this scene is kind of really kind of like put together so many little episodes, but created in one scene.
So why did you ultimately choose to create it in animation?
Well, again, we didn't have any other. I mean, we could choose probably to do a live action movie and sort of create a plot and do it, but somehow, and for me it was very clear that animation is the tool. Also, both of us are teaching in Bezalel Academy in the Department of Screen-Based Arts. So Ossi is an animator. I kind of like fell in love with animation, and I think it has a power that no other genre has. So this was clear that it needs to be in animation for me, and then we tried to figure out if it's a realistic animation, a non-realistic animation, how to deal with it, and also all the options of really giving subtext. This was very important, and this is also something that animation just can create. And it's wonderful.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating. You talked about how you took it from a more serious type of animation, which became too holy, and put it into something that was a little bit more, I don't know, dreamlike. I think it has been referred to as more psychedelic or something a little bit like a Yellow Submarine-ish kind of, which
I love Yellow Submarine.
you what?
I love Yellow Submarine.
Yeah, me
so that's
too.
a compliment.
Yeah, I mean, it's classic, but this is beautiful. And I like that, Noah, you talked about, you told us in advance that your hair is another character. I think both of their hair. I mean, it's just fascinating. So, Aussie, can you talk a little bit about those things that creating, outside of just the characters and the relationship, even talk about when they're sleeping in the same bed. You have a background of working with dance and animation. So talk about that, because it just makes the film just flow. The whole thing feels dreamlike.
So as you said, I have a background in dance, and I think that is very, I mean, in my previous work, I always work with choreographers, dancers. So the way I work with Noah was sort of this ping pong of visuals and stories. So Noah would come up with a story that happened, and I would like, okay, so you had a hard time at the class learning drawing in Paris, and the model is very good looking. So let's make this choreography where everybody's able to draw, and it's like this sort of ceremony where the teacher tells the model tells the model to change, and everybody's working, and you can't. And so usually the way I sort of interpret a story is through a choreographic tool. So I find the right choreography to sort of tell the situation. So when they are sleeping in this bed and everything around them is exploding, but they are on their small, tiny home, safe in their friendship. So I guess that was, and sort of sleeping, but moving in their sleep. I think I felt that was the right way to express this very beautiful period. I think beautiful and hard and crazy, and
I think people actually referred it as insomnia. So I really think it's like they're sleeping, but they're moving, and the bed is also a lifeboat, and it's not. It kind of really combined all the things that we needed to feel at the moment. So this was
Yeah.
like a real solution.
Well, you had mentioned that, what was it? That you wanted to convey a sense that the characters lived in a world that knew more than they did. So elaborate on that a little bit. Is that what you're referring to? That they were tied up in their own little friendship while everything was exploding around them?
for example, or when the lamps in the restaurant sort of shake while they inside they're shaking, or the small soldiers come out of the teapot.
Yeah.
And reveal the history that is not yet told on the table. So there are a lot of these like small examples during the film. I think that's a bit what's nice about animation, that because you work on every frame for so long, you can put so many details in one frame. So you can sort of put all the layers and all the like small ideas in one frame, and you can watch it over and over again and sort of discover new things every time.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen it now 3 or 4 times, and every time I I didn't see it. It's marvelous. I encourage our audience. You have the you can watch it on our website, or you can go into the chat. I've sent it to everybody, and you can watch it. It's amazing. Each time you watch it, you learn something new. I mean, how long did it take the two of you to put this together from beginning to completion? Because it's really amazing.
We started brainstorming in 2016. This is where when the scene was shot of Jenny and I standing, and then it took a while. and we literally, the production was 2 years more or less, a bit more than less, but 2.5 years, I would say. And we ended it ended a year ago, and it's been
Wow,
traveling since.
long time. Let me go. We have a lot of questions, so let me go to the Q&A and see what we have and what we may have answered. Okay, okay.
Can I, someone asked about if how to watch Mabul in USA, and I figured that would probably be more pressing. Maybe the director could answer.
I actually don't know if there's like an open link. I can find out and let you know, and then you can answer them.
Yeah, and I can correspond with you on that and also find out who the US distributor is and where they can watch it. The first question we had was, did you need to seek permission from Jenny to use her likeness in the film? How did she feel about telling the story?
Jenny knew that we're doing the film because the scene was shot before we started, so she knew we're doing this. So it wasn't like a real permission. It was like a known thing. We discussed a few times. I was actually supposed to go to Berlin with the rough cut to show her, but then there was a lockdown, so I didn't do it. So this didn't happen. So basically, she saw the movie, of course, before we screened it, premiered it. And as I said, it was not easy, but I think both of us really wanted to say something, and we both said it. So this was, and we're in touch, and I think it will evolve still, our relationship.
It's great. Okay, let's see what we have. Okay, somebody asked about talk about a way in which you get this short film to a wider audience and how, you know, you got it up for award consideration. Can you explain that to our audience? We may have some Academy members on here as well, so I'd like you to address the audience.
The film was actually it was shown in, I think, more than 50 festivals already, and some of them were Oscar qualified. We received a few prizes, and eventually we actually did like a screening for like a live audience in LA. So all of that kind of created the option to be considered as Oscar qualified.
And we were lucky to be chosen by the New Yorker documentary channel to be screened there. And I think that's maybe the best way we had to reach a wider audience, because animation festivals and film festivals are usually approach a crowd of people who are I don't know, film lovers, a very specific audience. So I guess that the New Yorker was a huge opportunity to get to more people and to a larger audience.
No, it's wonderful that you aligned with them. I think it's great. It gives you so much more exposure. Okay. Okay, so somebody was asking about the music. You talked earlier about these two women. I love that it's all women driven, about a woman's story. It's perfect. And we need more of this, especially nowadays when we're being marginalized internationally. Somebody said, I felt the music was telling me something, but my Hebrew is not strong enough to understand what the meaning was. Can you please explain it?
It's actually amazing that it could be felt without understanding the words. It's a wonderful. I'm very happy about this. It's actually really a nice story, because when we met them, we had like a first meeting, and we said, we don't want to give you any words. We just want to show you the movie and the specific scene that we need a song for. and just go for it. Write your own words, just do the first kind of draft. And when we got it, we were very amazed because they literally wrote a song about changing your skin and language every morning, and also the main theme is a lifeboat. Like, I'm giving you a lifeboat, you're giving me a lifeboat. This is our mutual boat. So this is kind of like the main theme, and of course they're like extremely talented, and their voices are just like
Yeah, they're
warming
beautiful.
into your heart. So it's just we were very lucky with them.
Okay, I have somebody who asked a question. What was the part of the process of the processing the information that was the hardest and most difficult for each of you? Do you feel that there is a piece about it that is also connected, that also connected you, or brought you closer?
I think that I gave Noah,
He was referring to both of us, creator.
What was the part of the processing the information that was the hardest and most difficult for each of you?
I think that I sort of gave Noah a very hard time while working on this film, because I was asking her over and over again and trying to figure out how did this relationship change and why did it change, and because I could totally understand this, like, sort of almost a love story between I mean, it's not a love story, but at this age, these relationships that you have are so strong, and I could totally understand that, and I just needed to understand it over and over again, like what happened, why did it change, why did it break? So I think, in a way, for me to really understand and get to understand both of the characters, because I could identify with Noah, and then I could identify with Jenny, and over again. And that was very important for us to put both of these sides and both of these opinions in the film.
Yeah. And for me, of course, it was very difficult, the fact that Ossi was questioning me, because I had to give answers outside of my head, and for me, I was still processing. So it changed, actually, during the process of making the movie. My kind of like understanding about this relationship and what happened changed, and it wasn't an easy thing to kind of cope with. And basically, it's the fact that that I found myself kind of being I found myself as a part of someone else's story that I wasn't really willing to be. I wasn't willing to be the Jewish force that kind of like, destiny that put us together. And I wanted to remain a private person and be out of the box, as I work very hard to be, and not kind of like represent anything, just myself. And so this was like, I think this was the main part, is like realizing what is the deal, why are we kind of like growing apart, because we just really think very different about how to deal with this revelation.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have a question, and then we also have a question here, so I'll ask them together. The question here is, share your thoughts about the ending. My question is, the film ends with a question. Do you think that we can choose? So can you elaborate on that?
It's kind of like it's like continuing what I said before. I truly believe, and it's very important for me to go on believing that we have some sort of influence on our reality and life. So once we deal with something that happened in the past, it's our decision how it influences the present and in what percentage we let it influence the present.
Or become our identity.
Or if it changes us. Jenny specifically decided that it changes everything. And I kind of like fought very hard to try and convince her that it doesn't. It changes. I mean, we can't change the past. We can only change our present. And if we let the present change, of course, the future is influenced by it. And I really think, you know, Jenny, because being born in one family and then adopted by another one, and then she realized that her biologic grandfather is Ammon Good. I mean, she was not raised in this family, so in a way, she had a ticket out in her back pocket. And I said, "Well, woman, just use it. I mean, why go to this abyss? It's a choice." And it's not an easy choice, but she devotes her life to this. And I said, I don't think this is the only choice. There are others. So, you know, this is why I'm asking, can't we choose? I think we can. I really think so. So of course we can't change the past. This, if I could, of course, this would be my first choice, but I think we need to like find a way to survive with this.
Yeah. I think it's probably more challenging for people who find out that they have a connection to evil, you know, as opposed to being connected to, or the loss of a family in the Holocaust is the most devastating things to experience. But to find out, you know, especially a Black woman whose mother was German, whose grandmother was German, and mother was German and father was Nigerian. So to the audience, you can go and Google it and you could find out information about Jennifer Teague is her name. What was the name of her book? People have asked, and if it was translated into English.
My grandfather would have shot me.
Oh, that's an interesting title.
Yeah.
So she carries,
because but it's part of the thing. I mean, it's a hypothetical question versus something that happened, you know, to a lot of other people. And I think with asking this question, it's also something, you know, it's hypothetical. It did not happen. She did not even know. The mother even never met this grandfather. I mean, her mother never met him. He was executed before she was born. So it's a choice to, you know, to take this story and make it your own, or say, okay, what do I do with it? How does it reflect on me? It's a big question. It's not, I definitely don't say I have a better answer. I'm just putting a question on the table because I think it should be there. And,
yeah. I'm going to switch subjects for a quick minute, and somebody asked about the technical aspects and what you use to create the animation, technical perspective. Can you say something about the software and techniques you use to create the story?
So I'm gonna give a technical answer because I understand that it's a technical question from someone who understands. So the animation is 2D animation done frame by frame on computer with TV Paint and connected together with After Effects. But it's basically drawn one frame after the other. Very, very classic. Nothing special about the technique of animation, actually. So 12 frames, or sometimes less, sometimes more for a second, 12 drawings. So yeah, that's how it was done.
Great. Well, is there anything you want to add?
I want to add that basically Ossie says it's a very simple and not even classic, but Ossie is just so talented. This is why it just looks amazing. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, you both, the combination of the two of you is absolutely extraordinary. And we are the lucky beneficiaries to be able to not only see the film today, but hear the behind the scenes and all the details and everything that went into it. And I'm really honored that I was able to present it. So what's next? What happens next?
Uh,
No.
Voting period starts on Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And we don't know, but we're already starting to think about the next film. So
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully together.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
So,
But for Academy members, and for people who know Academy members who have missed this, have recorded this and we will make it available. And of course, Academy members can go onto their platform and watch the film and cast their vote.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Yes. So thank you so much. I just want to do a little housekeeping for LA Jewish Film Festival, and I want to thank our audience for coming today. And I want to thank the consulate for their support. This will be available online. And for our local Angelinos, we have another program coming up on Sunday morning, and tickets are still available. It is the 25th anniversary of Yael Strom's film Karpati, which is another Holocaust story about the relationship between a survivor from the Carpathian Mountains and his music and the gypsies who lived there as well. And there will be a live concert to accompany the film. So if you're interested in coming to that, you can get tickets at the theater. You can get tickets online. The information's on our website, and that will take place Sunday morning, December 11th at 10 o'clock at the Lemley Royal. Again, I want to thank everybody, and I especially want to thank the two of you. It's just been my greatest honor, and I wish you the very best of luck. And we hope to see you at the Oscars.
Thank you so much
you.
for hosting us, and it was our pleasure.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Have a wonderful day or night for you guys.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.